Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of the Baby Metal podcast. It's February 17th, 2019 for most of us here as we record. The podcast is a place where we gather on something like alternate weeks to discuss news and thoughts on the past and future projects of Baby Metal. We invite you to join us, whether you're a longtime fan or have only just arrived. I am Paul, and I am joined by Kevin.
Hello, everyone.
And Garrett.
Hello.
And Vars.
Hello.
All right, so we're back. It's been a little while since we recorded because we had a sort of a two-part episode. In general, there hasn't been a whole lot of news, but there hasn't been none. So we'll talk a little bit about that, and then our plan is to also spend a little bit of time kind of interviewing each other, getting to know who it is that is talking in this podcast. So, all right, I guess I'll sort of start with the first bit of news, which is that big things are coming in 2019.
Big things.
Yeah, that's right. So 5B, the 5B artist management account, tweeted, like the standard photo and wrote, "Big things are coming in 2019 from Baby Metal Japan." And that's, they are somewhat official. They are, they're the closest thing to official we've got. So nobody knows what this means. But
nobody knows.
Why else would they tweet it though?
It means something big. Life. Something big is coming. That's
something big.
Yes. So, I mean, there's a certain amount of optimism that goes with that. I sort of feel like it probably didn't come from nothing. There's probably something that motivated them to tweet that. But it is anyone who's looked at the 5B feed. This is the least specific thing they have probably ever tweeted.
The Death Star will be ready to fire in 7 minutes.
So, but yeah, so I mean, like, speculation has gone rampant as to what this could mean. I guess I'm looking at a couple of notes that I took sort of in this area, and mostly it's just about speculation of other things that maybe they could be referring to, but we don't know. One thing maybe I'll mention.
Tour.
What, sorry?
Album or tour, anything?
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems like unless they're really going to do something off the wall, then album or tour does seem like a likely kind of thing that they would be having in mind. So
maybe they're going back to Big Things Festival.
That's a festival.
Good things, right?
There has to be a festival, right?
Right.
Big Things.
Never heard of it.
It's too good a name to not be a Big Things Festival.
I hope they say good things next time.
Yeah,
coming back to good things.
But yeah, so there have been also Louder Sound Metal Hammer had a passing mention of Baby Metal releasing an album in 2019. Again, everybody speculates that, but at least these are people who are just kind of on the periphery of they know official stuff sometimes.
I always viewed a Metal Hammer as like an official, almost like they know more than everybody else anyway. Like they have insider.
That's absolutely what everybody's hoping.
Like they always seem like they have more reliable information than everybody else.
Yeah. Well,
they do have a long-standing history of covering the group and getting it right.
Yeah. So it could be that they know something, or it could be that they are just gambling.
Teasing. They know that the Baby Metal fans love it.
Optimism.
Yeah. I mean, so this was actually, it was a passing mention in an article that was actually about Rammstein, which is another thing too. That do any of you remember why people thought that there was a chance that they could?
There was some leak. It was on some weird website where it was saying that Rammstein were touring, and then it tagged Baby Metal in it. So a lot of people were speculating that Baby Metal will be opening for Rammstein.
Uh-huh.
That would be a spectacular show. I don't know what the likelihood of that is, but that would be fun.
That would be awesome.
Talk about two groups that pride themselves on theatrical stage experiences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think my understanding is that there are at least some people who hang out on these Discord channels that bought the tickets.
Yeah, maybe.
Worst case, they see Rammstein, but the problem, of course, is that that gets sold out before we find out, because I believe the tour is not that far in the future, really.
I'm not sure.
So anyway, it was interesting, at least, that there was that connection even in the Metal Hammer thing. That the article was actually about Rammstein, and then BABYMETAL was mentioned. So anyway, we'll see. Big things are coming. Oh yeah, the thing I was going to mention was that the one thing that we know 5B is responsible for is kind of like artist management in the US. So it's quite possible they're disconnected from all of other things, but that does give me additional hope that maybe there is a US thing happening sometime. And
well, they haven't
big.
skipped the US whenever they've left Japan.
We'll see. Anyway, any further thoughts on what big things might be?
Nothing we haven't already talked about, right?
I think we go into rampant speculation if we're wondering what big things means.
Yeah. See episodes 1 through 4 of this podcast for what
right.
could be big things.
Exactly. All right. Something that's a little bit more actual news is that BABYMETAL has been announced for 2 days in the Summer Sonic 2019 in Japan, whatever it is, festival. So on January 31st, the Twitter account tweeted it. And I think actually that went on Twitter is the one I pay attention to, but I think it went up on all the things.
Yes.
So. Yeah, I got it everywhere.
So that's pretty cool. It's late though, right? I mean, it's August 16th in Osaka and August 17th in Tokyo. And at least when I typed up the show notes, that they were just immediately sub-headline below the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but I think they've been, I think as people get announced, they've been slipping to slightly further down the list.
Yeah, I think they're third now, right?
Yeah.
I forget who knocked them down.
There's a plan, though. I mean, it's not over until at least August 17th.
Yeah, well, and I suspect we'll get some information or something when the one membership from this past year runs out here in, a month?
Yes.
Month and a half?
Yes. I have been counting on hearing something about that, that it doesn't just expire and then nothing. So
maybe they'll expand on my bath set. We got the big towel this year. Maybe I'll get a stand of hand towels this year.
Yes, right. Or like what do you call it? Like a loofah.
Loofah. Ooh, a BABYMETAL loofah. I'd take that. We have the candle, maybe some soap.
Excellent. Yes. But yeah, the one membership officially expires on March 31st, I believe. So, but usually we know, usually it's not like there's been that many years of precedent to work from, but we should know soon. Also, another thing about the Summer Sonic is that the tickets are available overseas now as well. So there is a page you can go to, an English page. There are 1-day tickets available for each of the days, and there's a platinum level you can get, which gets you like special seating and I think a couple other advantage in the merch lines and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive too, from what I remember. What did it work out? It was like $120 for the cheapest ticket or something like that, right?
Yeah, the Osaka 1-day, 13.8k yen is what.
Yeah.
So basically 14,000, and 15,000 for the Tokyo 1-day, and then if you wanted that platinum level, it's 25,000 for either.
That's a lot for a festival, right?
It seems like it.
I mean, I paid 180 Australian for good things.
Well, Australian money is funny money. I mean, for whatever reason, you guys overpay for everything. Yeah.
That's pretty normal, and in fact, I think it's pretty damn good for all the bands that are playing.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I haven't been to a festival yet. I don't know. I don't typically do well standing in the sun all day. But okay, I didn't know they were that expensive.
I'm paying close to that for Rocklahoma this May.
Mm-hmm.
No kidding. Well, maybe $300 for a Premier VIP, the one ticket isn't so out of the question then.
No.
And it's 3 days as
No.
well.
Yeah.
When festivals
no, it
go
is.
the
It
more than
absolutely
one
is out of the
day,
question.
when festivals go more than one day, usually the price goes up a lot.
Yeah.
Now, does that get you more than one day, or is that $180 a day?
It's I'm sorry, for the good things, you mean?
Well, yeah, for good things or any other festival. I'm just trying to calibrate here.
It's probably 100 a day.
$100 a day. Okay.
Totally
Well, I can
worth.
tell you that for Summer Sonic, it is 39,000 for the full 3 day in Tokyo, and 36,000 for the full 3 day in Osaka. And you can't get that platinum level at the 3 days. So you have to buy the platinum one day, and the one day is 15,000.
Wow. Okay.
So
who's going?
Not me.
Not me.
Yeah, I think if I were near there anyway, I would go. I think.
Sure.
Because it's yeah, I've got to believe that's not going to be the only thing that they play between now and the end of
Surely
the end
not.
of 2019.
They've got to say something soon.
Well,
yeah.
The only thing that they really need to announce soon, I think, are festival dates, because the festivals force it. I bet we can still wait a couple of months before hearing about further headline shows of their own. I'd rather we didn't, but
Yeah.
Well, who knows?
I think mainly what I'm saying is I'm not quite ready to abandon all hope.
Certainly not. I mean, they'll tour this year. They've
I
toured
can't wait
every
for the
year.
announcement to be tomorrow or something after the recording.
Yeah, that's. I'd put up with it. It would be fine. But it would be kind of annoying to record this big long episode of speculation, and then before it gets edited and posted, it's all out of date.
Hey, if we're responsible for inadvertently getting news out, I will take it.
Yep.
I'll take that karma hit.
Right.
I'm pretty sure last year's announcement was around this time anyways. And there was already a couple of festivals announced.
Yeah, I think we haven't even, or maybe we have just about gotten to the point where the leak happened. Right. The
end of February.
Yeah. Okay, the chat room is saying it was February 27th. Is that the announcement, the official announcement of the Kansas City show?
Yeah.
Because there was about a week. Oh, it briefly appeared about a week before, and then everybody denied all knowledge, and then it happened anyway. So okay, so we can hope we're getting close to the end of February. So.
I was gonna say that'd be awesome if they did a complete just reset of what they did last year, announcing the same shows, same dates, at the same time. Honestly, I'd be happy. I'd be down.
Yeah.
I'll drive to Kansas City again.
I did think that would be that did cross my mind, as it would be hilarious if the first show was in Kansas City.
They owe it to us, I think.
Sorry for Kansas City reunion tour.
Yeah.
Redo that show entirely.
We'll see. And then the next sort of thing I wanted to talk about, let's see. Oh, just sort of a mini mention. And I am only getting this person's name from the Twitter handle, but Hirokazu Sato does great fan art, and he made just a fantastic image of essentially envisioning that object from the New Year's tweet as an 8-sided spaceship with cutaway art and stuff in there, and it's fantastic enough that it's worth mentioning that one bit of fan art specifically. It must have taken forever to make.
Yeah, and it's so
gorgeous.
dense too.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So many references in this thing. Just looking at it, you get Star Fox. I think Star Fox 64 to be specific. There's and a xenomorph from Alien, Star Wars references, lots of foxes everywhere. Moa eating, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be. Is it Bo cooking? Maybe.
I think that was what the speculation was. Yeah, and Omura's playing pool.
Yeah, it's worth checking
I
out
see
and giving
that.
him a follow on Twitter.
Yeah.
I see the little dude praying to the fox god on the top.
Yep.
And Koba's broom is there behind the toilet.
Yeah.
And actually, so and behind that, if you look closely, there's also an alien hiding.
Yes.
Oh my god.
It's really dense. Everybody should go check that thing out and
Yeah.
give him a follow on Twitter.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. But so, and in fact, actually, the graphic novel official account was impressed and commented on it. So,
Did he
I think
win
it was
their
them.
fan art? I don't remember.
what?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he
Z2's
did.
Z2 did the graphic novel tie-in fan art competition. Did
Yeah,
he
I
win
remember
that?
that vaguely. But yeah, I'm not sure actually what the conclusion was. I think you're right. Actually, I think you are correct.
There was
because it
2
was
people who won it.
Yeah, but because the one he did this one that was sort of based on the characters from the graphic novel, and I think that did actually get recognized as something. It was at least recognized. It might have actually won the the sort of contest.
Yeah, Chad agrees. Sato and Rick Wagner both won the contest.
Excellent. Okay, cool. And I've found the tweet that says that Baby Metal GN has retweeted this art of Sato's. Very nice, very cool. I really like the style. Actually, it fits perfectly.
Yeah, all his stuff is really fun. Great art style. Super talented.
Okay, let's see. A couple more sort of miscellaneous things. In the time since we recorded last, and I should say welcome back to those who have skipped over the last 2 episodes because you're still waiting to read the graphic novel. Do read that. But Kerrang published a little fluffy the 10 moments that made Baby Metal global superstars thing, which is it's almost not worth mentioning, but
It gave most of the fans a heart attack.
yeah, there's almost nothing in it. But
yeah, it's a little BuzzFeedy.
Yeah. However, I'm still kind of happy to see just publicity. So
yeah, I'll take publicity anywhere they can get it.
Right. Another thing that was kind of cool that we determined was that there's a channel. So I don't know the Japanese channels particularly, but NHK BS4K, which is a 4K broadcast channel. They are scheduled to show the Download Festival footage in 4K over 3 nights on February 23rd, March 2nd, and March 9th. And as far as we know, this is the first 4K we're aware of that anyone might be able to capture. So I think there was a 4K broadcast of this in the UK that no one got. But
I like pixels.
Yes.
4K would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So it's already in their schedule. You can look in. I mean, I have maybe we can put a link. May actually not be worth putting a link in the show notes because it's going to be expired fairly soon. But you can see the slots are 90 minutes long, and in the ad, it was said that there's going to be Marilyn Manson, Guns N' Roses, The Struts, and Baby Metal. And it's split over 3 days. I suspect that they are independent. So my guess is that Baby Metal will be only in one of them, but I don't know what.
That's a good guess.
And that's the end of my information. Yeah, I guess I sort of feel like there should be more to say about it, but there isn't. But it's good that they're doing that. I wish they would do that with Dark Knight Carnival, but oh well.
Oh yeah.
All right, and then I guess maybe there are 2 more things that I think I wanted to say or talk about before we start doing our interviews of each other. One was that we actually got some official responses from the various people involved in the graphic novel with respect to the previous 2 episodes where we discussed it, and that's wild. I feel a bit starstruck by that, but
it was surreal.
Yeah, feels amazing.
Yeah, and it was really fun to go through that, and I feel like we only got halfway there. I mean, there's plenty of stuff left.
Yes.
From Official Z2, this analysis is amazing. From the graphic novel account, lovely comments and deserved criticisms. Yeah. Really cool.
Did we critique much? I guess our critiques were only that we're confused at various points.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they used computers that were too new.
That was pretty funny. Mm-hmm. It sounds like, hey, maybe you got a job on the next one if they need some tech advising.
Perfect. But yeah, so and we actually got a few responses from the BABYMETAL GN account referencing specific things that we were talking about in at least part 1. I think they intend to do a little bit with part 2 as well. So that's cool. I don't know for sure if we're done talking about the graphic novel. We may come back to it, but we will spoiler fence it off in some way. But that's very pleasing. So, anything else that anyone wanted to say about that?
I'll say thank you for the responses. It's really, really helpful and supportive to the podcast.
Always feel good to have your work validated, especially by the people who came up with the product you're talking about.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I appreciate it greatly. But it's really neat that they're so open to talking to people. So
yeah, if only we could get them running the band.
For real.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the next thing, I don't know how long I'll go on about this, but just because we are in kind of like a news hiatus time for the most part, I mean, we have collected together up to this point 2 weeks worth of news, and the one thing that would be interesting, I think, to do would be just to kind of like talk a little bit about individual topics. And so the first one that I was thinking about was to talk a little bit about specifically the song Doki Doki Morning, because what's interesting about that is that it's the first one, right? I mean, it's the thing that started it all. We've had a chance to kind of see it evolve over time, so we have the first performance in the Smile documentary discs, and we have the music video, we have the commentary to the music video, which is great. If anyone hasn't heard that, then definitely go experience the commentary. And we have different performances like in Tokyo Dome where it's spread out and and we have a couple other things to compare. I believe the last time it was performed as 3 was at the Silver Fox Festival. The last time it was performed at all was at Legend S. And so there's kind of a lot of stuff to talk about. Also Dwayne Metal, if people haven't come across him, he goes through 5 parts of a video series, working through exactly what the lyrics mean as far as he's concerned, although I am not completely sure he's right.
Well, he's a native Japanese teacher lives in the U.S. teaching Japanese, right? Yeah. His translation's probably pretty good, though I suppose translating lyrics is always up for interpretation.
Yeah, I have when we talk about it, I have a couple things that I will wonder about, but I am not a speaker of Japanese at all. So, but and also, so because it was the first song, it kind of launched the idea, so it kind of embodies the original guy, I'm reading the chat thing, and I get distracted. It embodies the original idea, is what I mean. Somebody had typed "guy" in the chat room, but anyway, yeah. So so everybody's homework basically is to kind of remind yourself about things that you thought about Doki Doki Morning, and we'll talk a little bit about just evolution of, to the extent that there is any evolution of the choreography, and any thoughts we had about how it's developed, how it started, how it fits into the whole, sort of oeuvre.
Yes.
The merch involved, how it was released originally in various kinds. As I was researching this, I discovered that there's a version I didn't know about. So that's irritating, but there's a UK promotional one that I don't have and probably won't be able to get. But anyway, so I think this will be fun to kind of like dig through it. So we at least will all kind of review what there is, and but if you want to sort of follow along, you listening there can also kind of review these things. Does that sound fun? I don't know.
I think that sounds
fun to me.
Because we got so it was so fun doing homework for the last one. We just have to keep doing homework.
Yes.
I don't think we have to do quite as much homework talking about a song.
No, I was surprised though when I was kind of thinking through it. I mean, whatever, it's 3.5 minutes long, but there's still enough to talk about there. That we'll see.
Should be fun.
Anyway, so that's the plan for that's an upcoming episode. But so with the rest of the time, I think we were kind of thinking that maybe it would be good to talk a little bit about who we are. Like why we're here on the podcast, how we got here, that kind of thing. I think we probably all have somewhat independent histories that brought us here. So I don't know exactly how we want to start. Maybe I don't know, Garrett. Maybe we could start with you.
Okay.
What? So how did you start? Like how did you meet
With
this band
BABYMETAL?
in the first place?
Oh man, I was back in high school. The first music video I'd ever watched by them, I just stumbled upon it on YouTube, was Headbanger.
Mhm.
And I'll openly admit it didn't hook me. This is crazy. What is this? And then like a few months later, it popped up in my recommended side again, And then I watched it again. Like, oh okay, this is from the transition of me listening to mostly like pop music into metal. I haven't always been a metalhead, but over the past 10 years, I've just exclusively metal now, and now I'm on a podcast talking about a metal band, and it's escalating very quickly.
But so you're like prior to this, you did listen to metal or not?
Like, no, like prior to like 2008, didn't listen to metal at all. I was never around it, never even heard of it. None of my parents listened to it. I grew up with a couple friends who did, and that was my first exposure. But the BABYMETAL wasn't until halfway through high school.
What did you listen to?
Like, it's whatever's on the radio. I wasn't really into music, really. Like,
yeah.
I was more focused with like skateboarding and like guitar, like playing guitar, not really listening to anything on the radio. I played chords for church and stuff, but that was basically it.
Huh.
Cool.
What about you, Paul? What was your first exposure to BABYMETAL?
Well, okay, so that if you go on Google, you can check your history and you can see, at least, if you didn't turn off monitoring soon enough, you can see when you watched what videos. And I'm trying to remember, I'm pretty sure, and I've by now I don't have it in front of me, but I basically saw the Gimme Chocolate video when it was new, and it somehow just bounced off. I mean, I clearly watched it because Google said I did, but it didn't. I didn't really sort of get there until I think it was probably October 2017, maybe. So it was like right around when the Big Fox Festival was actually happening, which is a little bit frustrating. You have to understand.
Yes.
But
yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, like, one thing that I thought was it was interesting because back, when I was in my youth, there was at least a time when I was, listening to sort of like various metal things. I would listen to Iron Maiden and Metallica and stuff like that, and then I just sort of lost interest in that, and didn't really listen to much of anything. And it really hadn't occurred to me to listen to these things, but the one thing that I really did kind of draw me in about BABYMETAL was that it is that same kind of metal energy, but without all the negative stuff that kind of goes along with it. It's not like, death and war and blood and,
Yeah.
a cult or whatever.
Are you sure about that?
It's really, it was, at first I really had the same, I'm sure impression a lot of people did, which is like, it's almost like it's trying too hard. Like, this is kind of just ridiculous. And then it just takes like a couple days maybe, and then suddenly it's like, oh yeah, actually they do fit together in a way that I didn't I didn't appreciate initially. So yeah, I mean, I sort of feel like it got me back interested into metal that I had abandoned, basically, so, so that, I think that's kind of cool. And I was never into anything that was remotely like idol music.
Right.
Yeah, like I've been like, my first real exposure to metal was Metallica, and
Same.
like I slowly grew into baby metal, and like now I'm slowly oozing into Periphery and some slightly heavier stuff. But baby metal's like still the biggest metal band that I listen to right now, I think.
So you said it brought you back to metal. Are you listening to anything else in the metal genre now that you are a huge baby metal fan?
Like I bounce around. Like baby metal's always had this place in my playlist, but like I've been listening to a lot of like Wage War, and like again Periphery, another big one. They have a new album coming out soon.
Nice.
And Buried Tooth, another one.
What about you, Paul?
Yeah, but for me, I think I say back, but I think maybe that might have been overstating it, because at this point there aren't my rotation is not very large. I do sort of think, I mean, like, I have this idea that at least one of the things that Kobo wanted to do was to reinvigorate the metal genre, and I think bringing people in who wouldn't have been listening to it, and I think that's they are doing that, or they were doing that.
Sure.
That was kind of the idea. But yeah, I mean, like, as far as what what it's caused me to do is re-listen to some of the things that I used to listen to, but and I guess I listen to Bandmate now. But
yeah.
even though it's
we all have.
It's interesting because, like, I sort of feel like they're very good, and there's a kind of a conceptual connection that I don't even like, in a way that like, I'm not pleased that this is how I got led to Bandmate, but I like them.
I feel the same way, actually. Yeah.
Because they're really not very much alike, in anything but sort of like one dimension.
Sure.
So yeah, how about you, Kevin? What brought you?
Kind of like you guys, I started with metal, heavy rock, hard rock, that kind of thing when I was younger. A lot of Metallica, Seven Dust, Godsmack, Rammstein, all that stuff. And I happened to be following or watching a live recap. There's some great channels on YouTube that pull all Metallica content from their live shows and basically show the live on YouTube. And I was following them in South Korea because they were out touring in Asia, and I was watching their show. And the first 3 minutes of the video, they were showing clips of them setting up and then their opening acts. And for about 7 seconds in the beginning of this video, there were 3 girls dancing insane, and I was getting blasted in the face with metal as they were jumping around the stage, and I just had to, I was like, what the hell is this? And I immediately stopped what I was doing. I stopped watching that video and started Googling who the heck opened for them and tracked them down that way. I think the first video I watched was Gimme Chocolate, because I think, and it still is, the #1 viewed video on the channel. Mm-hmm. And I asked myself, what the heck is this? And then I watched another video. I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. I don't really get the girls dancing, and I don't understand what's happening. I don't think I like the vocals, but the metal behind it and the instrumental is incredible. It is ripping my face off. There must be more. So, lo and behold, it's now 4:00 in the morning, and I have gone completely down the rabbit hole because I started finding...
That's how it happens.
Because I started finding videos of baby metal live on YouTube, and I was like, okay, now that I've seen it live, holy crap, this is incredible. Then I found the subreddit, and then I found the Google Doc that has all of the live shows. And before I knew it, the sun was coming up in the morning, and I was regretting all of my decisions that night. But had fallen incredibly in love, and was already talking to my friends. Hey, check this out. Check this out. You mentioned bad timing. Metallica was touring, and they opened for them in South Korea before announcing and going to Tokyo Dome. So technically, I was a fan before Tokyo Dome happened. It was the first release of a video I was waiting to buy. So I was really disappointed that I wasn't committed enough because I knew about it and had the opportunity.
Yeah. It's funny though, and like something you said, reminded me that I did not look upon them favorably at first. It really seemed like some weird uh, kind of like Japanese trick to be weird, like a
Yeah,
specific mashup that was just all about it. It's the thing that everybody thinks right first.
absolutely.
And so I kind of like I sort of feel like I just turned it off, displeased with it at first, and it is weird. It's very unfortunate that that's the first thing you think, but it is. I think for a lot of people, a mindset that's hard to get them away from.
I want to say probably for a Western audience, it's probably pretty normal. And I got to throw a shout out to my friends. I was chatting online in a Discord server with some friends when I was watching this and happened to share it with them. We were all laughing at it at first, but we all had kind of similar tastes in music. And, we got into some interesting discussion as we were watching this and kind of all went on this journey together, me and two friends. And it was really fun to kind of go from, what the hell is this? Okay, I don't like the little girls singing and dancing, but the metal is incredible, to completely buying off on the concept, and becoming a fan basically that night.
Yeah, I know my first month was a largely lost month.
It's just a total blur.
But yeah. So Vars, what was your background?
Well, I think the first time I ever saw Baby Metal was 2014,
Mhm.
when Gimme Chocolate came out. But I did not take much notice of it because I was pretty young then, and all I listened to was Skrillex and Daft Punk and all that kind of stuff. So it didn't really, I didn't really get into it until a lot
Mhm.
later. Um, but I was into a lot of Japanese things like anime, and I guess when I first saw Baby Metal, I was thinking this is something I'll never get. But later down the line, after coming off a big tour of one of my favorite bands and seeing them and being a big fan and meeting all the fans, um, I sort of was just messing around and I guess I stumbled across Gimme Chocolate again, and it was like one of those things where you watch it once and then you just keep going back to it.
Mhm.
And I even discussed that with like a couple of my friends, like, oh, this Gimme Chocolate is really cool. I'm a weeaboo, I love this. And someone mentioned, oh, I love their song Karate. And I remember watching that, and the first time it sort of blew my mind, like the opening riff and the whole music video and like everything about it. And I think that's when I sort of became obsessed and couldn't stop listening to their music. And I remember I was down at the shop, and was like, "Do they have Baby Metal here?" And they had Metal Resistance, and I bought it. And first time listening to it, and from then on, I just loved every bit of it. Also, eventually, I joined the BM communities and that. But yeah,
Right.
Sure.
that's basically how it happened.
It's amazing how everybody I've talked to, you guys included, I'm not, well, I guess I can't say everybody, almost everybody I've talked to kind of goes on the similar progression of, what is this? Do I like this? I don't know if I like this. I think I like this. Okay, I like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the shock factor of the Gimme Chocolate video is what I love about it.
Sure.
Is how it just sort of opens and then you see all these blurry things going on and then you see the three girls standing there and then they sort of it says gimme chocolate and that opening riff comes in and you see these like three girls just dancing to this crazy thrash metal. It's like, wow, it's insane.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I think I didn't really like the Gimme Chocolate video that much. Like Karate was the one that pulled me in. I watched it a couple times. It was interesting to watch. I watched it a couple more times, and then I discovered I was just happy enough to leave it playing in the background even when I wasn't watching it.
Sure.
Um, but that one felt a little bit more. I guess I felt like Gimme Chocolate was specifically just it's the thing that gives you that feeling like it's trying, and I didn't want it to try. But
I want to mention something Cam Metal actually reminded me of in chat. He says Road to Resistance is the song that did it for him. Hearing the crowd from the official video blew him away.
Yes.
And I got to say, that's the exact same thing that happened to me. You know, I mentioned I was going through all their videos on YouTube, watching the music videos. And when I came across Road to Resistance, it was live. And it wasn't until I saw a live performance and was convinced that it wasn't just all studio fakery.
Right.
And I was able to see that, okay, there's thousands of people here going absolutely insane for this. I have to see more and see more of the live stuff. And it wasn't until I started finding all the live shows that I really bit off.
I actually like to point out something. On my Spotify, you know how you can do like the my 2018 or whatever.
Sure.
Well, when I did that, it came up the first band you discovered or like the first song that you discovered of the year, and it came up with BABYMETAL Karate for me.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So that's amazing.
Yeah. It occurs to me, like, I don't even know if I should admit this, but at any rate, like, I was remembering now how I really did get here, and the step I missed in the middle was that there was, I think basically about when that went viral, I really got kind of hooked on that Pon 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 song.
I love her. She's so good.
Yeah, so I had actually been following Carrie Pami Pami fairly closely, and you know, so I had all that stuff, and I'd been kind of like paying attention to
Me
that.
and Paul are best friends now.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it was basically in the sidebar. This is where BABYMETAL showed up, right? You know, it's kind of in the sidebar of this, and I do remember thinking, you know, because I'd seen it, you know, I remember having seen it somewhere in the past, and it showed up in the sidebar again, and I'm like, all right, maybe I'll try this again. And I remember kind of thinking, you know, sort of being a little bit fearful that, you know, if I do click on this and start watching, you know, the BABYMETAL videos, it's like I'm gonna move away, you know, like I had this sense that that was going to be the end of my paying that close attention to Carrie Pami Pami, but and it's true. I mean, like, it's a different world. I do actually find that the BABYMETAL stuff is much more kind of like honest in a way. You know, it is actually live stuff happening with a band and all that stuff, and it's not the same kind of idol-y stuff. Even though I would, you know, it's probably arguable that Carrie Pami Pami isn't exactly idol, but nevertheless, it's I saw it coming.
Yes,
I was right.
Sure.
Yeah, I've always been sort of someone that's been into Japanese things for a long time. Like I remember I used to collect Pokemon and that, and I think the Pon 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 video is like one of those things that I remember watching, and I think it's probably the same thing that led me towards the Give Me Chocolate video. I do not remember how I found it, but but yeah. I think like there was even a point in time when I was 14 where I'd listen to like Hatsune Miku and Vocaloids and all that kind of stuff. So it took me long enough to get into BABYMETAL.
Yeah.
So I want to know, I think if you're a savvy listener and have a good memory, we know the answer to one of these questions. Everybody's been to a live in here. What was everybody's first show?
For me, it was the where is it? Charlotte show. Just this past tour, this past summer.
For me, it was Palladium.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah. Lucky you.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So
me,
I was really lucky on this one because I live not too far from there. It's a really easy trip. And it just so happened they announced that tour and all of that pretty soon after I got really into the band. So
my first show was at Kansas City. This most recent tour.
Yeah. Well, it was a noteworthy one.
Yeah, I don't know how to. I'm sorry, but awesome.
Yeah.
At the same time,
I'm sure people who like that was their first show still enjoyed it. I mean, I've heard some people like that was their first show and they were like in the mosh pit enjoying it, you know. But
Sure.
eventually, after it sort of settled in, what happened. But
I've never had a bad time at one of their concerts. this last year included.
Well, my first show was Good Things Festival in Melbourne, so yeah, and that was amazing. Them coming near me for the very first Australian show, and I was right there, so it felt great.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Awesome.
Well, hopefully it'll happen again.
Yes,
Big things.
big things, or good
Big things.
coming.
I don't know. Well, anyway, yeah. So hopefully they're right. I mean, there's all kinds of ways that things could go in the future. Maybe by the time we record again, we'll know something more. Could well be.
Sure hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for the announcement tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah.
As long as it's not another Instagram puzzle.
Yeah. That was I've probably, and I can't even remember if we talked about this before, but the that other one, I've memorialized that in my sort of like little profile picture. I will always have my little picture be the EP that was allegedly a letter.
Right.
God, I remember that day very well.
What a stressful day to be in the online community.
I remember the BABYMETAL Discord was just several people typing for hours. I think I even fell asleep at one point and it was still going when I woke up.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep up.
Nope, couldn't keep up with everything.
There was, I mean, there was a kind of a fun to that though. Like when we were getting this, I forget if it was, I think it was a count up. I forget if it was a count up or count down. I think it was a count up with all the images from the back of the distortion single and, like from the video.
It was fun for the first like 3 or 4 images.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the payoff wasn't really what we'd hoped, ultimately.
But it was just a lore video.
It was pretty fun though, like watching people try to fit them together to make something out of these.
Sure.
So, I guess a puzzle would be better than silence, but I think.
I guess sure. I'll take anything at this point.
Yeah.
New merch?
Well, we know that would work, but
got to expand my bathroom collection.
That's right. All right. Anyway, I think probably we have mostly introduced ourselves to everyone here. So, yeah, it's interesting actually. Our histories are more different than I'd guessed they would be. So that's kind of cool too.
Yeah, I love hearing about how people came upon this group because it's so unique and everybody has a different but similar story, which I find kind of fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this would be a great time if you're listening to this and you have the opportunity, let us know in the comments how you found the band. I'd love to go through and read all those and kind of take us on your journey.
Yeah, I think that would be fun to see too. We get little snippets here and there, and in discussions, but it'd be fun to kind of go through them in an organized way.
Yeah.
All right. So the plan is that next time we will talk through some thoughts on Doki Doki Morning as an introductory topic, and we will probably come up with other topics of that type. Maybe not song based, but concert based or whatever. We'll see how it goes. But I think this is going to be an interesting exercise, and hopefully not a disaster. But so everybody, remind yourself of the words, the history, anything you thought about it, and we'll go through it next time. And I guess basically that will be it for this episode then. So you can join us on the BABYMETAL Podcast Discord to continue the conversation. And rating the podcast on whatever platform you listen on will help other people find it, so please do that. We'll be back here in about 2 weeks, and we hope you'll join us. And until then, see you.